Little Bit of Crafting. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in the United States, coming to you just after midnight, actually. So it is technically April 22nd, and I'm coming to you from Wisconsin. Welcome. I'm glad you took a few minutes out of your day to come craft with me. I just have one quickie little commercial. And I'm just waiting for my other device to come up so I can see if anybody joins me live. Quickie commercial. Just found out today that Stampin' Up! Is going to do free shipping for us. Normally, they do 1 day of free shipping. Starting technically tomorrow, April 23rd, we get 3 days of free shipping. So the 23rd, 24th, 25th, on any order that's $75 or more. All right. If you're shopping with me, I certainly appreciate that. LoriMacari.stampinup.net. If you are an existing customer, make sure that you opt in for the new Stampin' Rewards program. If you're not a customer with me and you want to shop with me, I would certainly recommend that you create an account and opt in to get those rewards, because for every $20 purchase or more, you will receive 10% in Stampin' Rewards that you can use towards a future purchase. All right. So build up those Stampin' Rewards. The new program, which just went into effect on April 15th, is going to benefit a lot more people now, because it used to be minimum workshop or customer order had to be $150 in order to get those rewards. And now with a minimum $20 order, you'll get those and you can build them up and save them, or earn them and burn them, whatever trips your trigger. So that's my commercial for today. Let's take a look at just a quick card that I came up with using this rustic crate stamp set. This is a photopolymer stamp set rather. This is on the last chance list. So unfortunately, it is going away. If you like it, order it, because once it's gone, it's gone. And I do believe it is at a reduced price. There are also dies that coordinate with this. That's also called the rustic crate dies. The cool thing about this is that, like, this piece here creates like a box label that would go on here. This is a textured piece that works with this. And when you layer them together, it actually looks like a little crate, and it has a 3D effect coming off of the card. So that's pretty cool. But I'm just going to be using a sentiment here and these little herbs. I think those are herbs. They look like herbs to me. In addition to that, I'm using Thoughtful Journey 6x6 paper. These are some really pretty patterns that just have they're scenic, but they're kind of abstract. So we're going to work with some of that. And kind of the highlight of the show is these templates, or sketches, as some people like to call them, that Stampin' Up! Provides us. So this is from the current annual catalog that's going to be finished soon. But on page 22, we've got all of these sketches. So there's actually 22 of them coincidentally on page 22. So take a look if you've got a current catalog, and don't get rid of that catalog even after the products in it might not be active anymore. There are a lot of good ideas inside your catalog, especially something like this. All right. So I'm going to use this. Hopefully you can see it. I'm going to use that sketch or template for the card. And you can kind of see where I've got the card base, and I've got 3 little pieces of my DSP, 1, 2, 3. And I cut these 3 inches by 1.5 inches. All of them were the same. And basically all I did was I took my cardstock or my designer series paper, cut 3 inches, and then just inch and a half, inch and a half, inch and a half. And then on the last one that I didn't want to use on the front, or that didn't really fit, I'm actually thinking I'm going to put it on the inside and kind of carry that design theme to the inside where I will write my note. So I think that's what my inside is going to kind of look like. But you can see this is what we're shooting for. All right. So I'll show you what I did here. And I'm going to get this catalog out of the way. We can come back to that later if we need to. But with this herb stamp, it's a little big to put on a D size block. So I actually have this on an E block. And I'm going to use gray granite as my stamp. So you can see here full strength, it's really dark. And even when I stamped off using the Memento Tuxedo Black ink, even when I stamped off, it just seemed a little busy to me with the sentiment. So I'm not going to use those, but I did like it with the gray granite. I didn't have to stamp it off, and it just gave a subtle look that I could still use the Memento Black, Tuxedo Black, to do that sentiment. And what I did with this then was I just took my old olive Stampin' Blends and I used the bullet end to keep things in control. And I just highlighted some of the leaves on those. And then I took some of our rhinestones and I colored them with the Stampin' Blends because these are alcohol. So you can color your rhinestones or your pearls, and you can basically make them on any color you need them. So let's do this really quick. I did a couple of color palettes. So this is Petunia Pop. This is an in color that still is going to hang around for another year. And I thought it went well with that piece. And we also have Calypso Coral. And that is highlighting this piece. So I'm going to start with the Petunia Pop, I think, because that's a little more spring-ish. And we're going to go ahead and just cut this at 3 inches. And then I'm going to do my 1.5, another 1.5. And when I'm using my trimmer, if I go all the way to this brown edge, that's my 1.5. Okay. And if I go over here, I can do my 1.5. Because I'm left-handed, sometimes it works better for me to line it up over here. It doesn't really matter, whatever works for you. All right. So there's my 4 pieces that are 3 by 1.5. We're going to go ahead and burnish this. This is 8.5 by 5.5, and it's scored at 4.25. And I like to use my bone folder to burnish that edge to keep my card staying a little flat for me. And we're just going to lay these out, kind of following that template. And we're going to use that. All right. So the template actually shows these all overlapped with the focal point kind of under one of the layers. All right. So I'm modifying that a little bit, but it's my card, so I can do whatever I want. So I'm going to put that up on here. And I kind of liked a little space down here. All right. So let me go ahead and glue this piece down. So this is just going to be such a nice, simple card, but it's still going to look really nice. So quick and easy. The paper does most of the work for us. I'm just going to kind of center that so that the top and the bottom margins are pretty close. I'm going to put this one glued on the bottom. And if you're joining me live, let me know where you're joining from. I have enjoyed seeing where people are popping in from, and that there are a lot of other night owls out there in the United States, at least. This piece I'm going to go ahead and pop up on dimensionals. And I'm going to go ahead and put 5 of them on there. Sometimes what I'll do is if I'm going to put the sentiment up on dimensionals as well, I might not put a dimensional in the middle, because that way when it goes through the postage meters, oh, that one didn't come off. when it goes through the postage meters, it will flatten out if if you don't double stack your dimensionals. All right. So let's put this one here. And then this piece, let me show you what I did here. I'm going to get our piercing mat, and we're just going to get our gray granite. And we'll ink this up. And then we'll just stamp it on there. And it gives us some nice subtle color on there. And we'll use the memento for that sentiment. And I always keep my memento upside down because the ink, if I leave it right side up, it will fade to the bottom. And if I leave it upside down, then the ink is always kind of pulling toward the top of the pad where I need it. Where with the regular stamp pads, you can see when we open this, the pad is already there. So when we close it, it's already upside down. So we don't have to put these upside down. They can stay with what appears to be the top for us because that actually becomes the bottom later. All right. So here's my sentiment. Now I'm also using this modern oval punch. And if I try to put it in here, I'm going to have a hard time lining it up. So one of the little cheats that I do is I get a little sticky note, post-it note, and that helps me put it in where I want it. And then I can just peel this part off and I'm good to go. So I don't have to struggle with that. And if I have enough stick-em-on, I can use that again. All right, so let's get this out of the way. And I think we just used this one. Yeah, that was the Memento Black, which I thought was a little too dark. All right. So then I'm just going to highlight a few of these little leaves. And again, I'm using the bullet tip. And I'm taking kind of a light touch because I don't really want those colors to bleed past where the lines are. And quite honestly, because the gray granite is so light, it almost looks like there's almost no outline. But I thought that this just highlighted those leaves just a little bit. And it just gives it a little bit of a pop of color. Yes, maybe we can do a few more here. All right, and we could probably do a couple of these. Now you could probably find like your petunia pop and maybe put those as if they're flowers, but they look like leaves to me. So that's all I'm going to put on there, I think. Well, then I think not. I'll do just a few more here. I never used to much like coloring, but these Stampin' Blends I really enjoy because the colors really blend nicely. So when I lay this on here now, because this is raised, I don't want to raise this whole thing because I don't want to have double layer of dimensionals. So I'm going to put dimensionals down here and off to the side, and then I'll just put some liquid Tombow glue there, or some Tombow multi-purpose liquid glue, I think is the official name. And we are getting close to done with our card here. And we'll just put a little smidge of glue here. And yes, I'm still working on this almost empty bottle of glue. because I'm kind of stubborn that way. And guess what? I put those on the wrong side. So we'll peel these off and move them. I thought I had flipped it the right way. Guess again. All right, let's try a little bit more glue here. And this other glue that's here won't matter because it'll dry. So I'm not really worried about that. All right, we'll put that here. And then for the inside, of course, I can take this piece and do the same thing as what I did with my sample. And we'll just cut that in half-ish. And then when I have my layer for the inside, let's just take this one as a sample. I would do this in white because I did the front as white. But something like this to just pull in the card design to the inside, okay? And then for these, I am going to get the Petunia Pop Stampin' Blends because I think those rhinestones need to be in the coordinating color. So let's just go ahead and give a little bit of color to these. And I usually do 2 coats. I find that that is usually enough. And then I'll use my take your pick tool. We'll just add those on there. And there's that card. So tuck those back inside there. So there we go. And then, you know, the same thing. I don't think I need to walk through all the steps again, but I would do the same thing with this one. We get a whole different look. So let's just go ahead and cut this one down. I won't glue it all together, but we can at least see the different color options. And again, I'm doing 3 inches by 1.5, and you'll get 4 then out of half of your 6 by 6. And you can end up cutting 1 in half to use on the inside if you want. So then again, we'll put these, I want that one to show because I really like that one. And then we'll put that there with some gems, and these can go on the inside. So look at that. Couple of cards really quick. This one I had done ahead of time, but it only took me a few minutes. And very little as far as supplies. You know, you've got your card base, half a sheet of your designer series paper, depending on the design. You can use that other 3-inch strip to create a flap on your envelope. So we could do something like this to create a flap. And I put the glue on my flap, I put this on, and then I fussy cut around it. I've shown that before. This isn't necessarily a design that's suited for that because it doesn't seem to be in the right direction to me, but you never know how it would look. All right, so that's what we have tonight using templates. And again, we use this one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the 6th one over to create this card. So anytime you're stuck or in a rut and you can't figure out, oh, what should I do? Go to those templates and get some ideas because they're generic. And depending on what colors you do and what designer series paper you do, you can create something that's totally you. So thanks for stopping in and stamping with me. And until next time, happy stamping.